Well, we're left libertarians for a start.
Right.
If you read our full platform, you'll see that we're all in on public health and on public education.
Right.
And so, there's I like to joke that we're one of the few people around who can sit at the same table as the Greens and the Liberal Democrats, because politics is multidimensional. So we align with both parties on some axes and not on others. And it's always interesting in the pointless internet debates I get with people on Facebook and whatever, to remind them that libertarianism was originally a leftist philosophy, not a right-wing one. But I digress. We're certainly not opposed to the government spending big when it needs to, but we are very, very conscious of civil liberties issues.
Right. So from a UBI point of view, I guess the way I see it is that UBI is absolutely the most direct expression of democracy, because you're using your money to vote for what it is you want society to produce for yourself. And so, from that point of view, I agree with you. It's a direct expression of civil liberties to have that money coming in and allowing you to choose, instead of having some government bureaucrat decide what's good for you. So I think that's one of the other reasons why I'd like to see the funding of the UBI not expressed as government expenditure, because it's not really the government spending it. The government's simply setting up an arrangement to ensure that you get money directly, and all it's doing is maybe putting some cap on what the total might be, but the money's going to you to spend. It's not the government spending at all. The government's got no say in how that money gets spent or what it gets spent on.
That's a cool perspective. I like that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to jump back to, the mention of environmental issues that Michael brought up about managing environmental impacts. And I think the UBI, it can kind of go both ways there. In one sense, it's there's the condition that we might want to demobilize sections of the economy, for example, the coal and gas industry. And we've seen with coronavirus that when you demobilize the economy, you need to give people money. You need to have no strings attached cash transfers. So the UBI kind of fits with a degrowth situation where people try and demobilize or limit economic activity in certain areas. But at the same time, everyone has more money. So they're going to be spending more and consuming more, and using, more resources are going to get used up. So do you have you personally or the party have a perspective on where UBI fits with degrowth and with environmental impacts?
I wouldn't talk about it in terms of demobilization and degrowth. But what I would say is, it gives people buffer to retrain. And if that takes them a long time, or if they never end up being able to, then, well, that's unfortunate. But if we've decided, hey, we can't have this industry anymore, then we absolutely do have an obligation to its workers to, they got to eat, they've got to, live. And so we hope that they'll find something else that's worth doing in their lives, and we hope that they'll find it relatively quickly. And it's on us to support them through that. And that's absolutely a valid role for the basic income, and indeed for pretty much any form of unemployment benefit.
Would that preclude sort of industry-specific programs, special plans put in place? So, you're coming into a town and you're shutting down the coal mine, and you've got to, you wouldn't, would you say, well, you've got your basic income, that's it? Or could there be additional assistance?
I mean, if it was pragmatic or desirable to give people additional stuff at the time, then, who am I to limit the future?
Yeah.